Akademiks, check it out. Now, you know what, man? This is a little bit personal for me. This story is personal because I got to give you a little history lesson. I'm going to make it quick. Now, last year, Everyday Struggle, I did an episode with Carl Cherry. If you don't know who Carl Cherry is, he was the head curator of Apple Music, which means all the Apple promoted playlists. And by the way, if you don't know, here's a big clue. The new radio is playlist, okay? If you get a song on a Rap Caviar or Apple's hit playlist for like hip hop, you're going to get guaranteed like 5 to 10 million streams that week. You don't got to do shit. You could be nobody. You'll get 5 to 10 million streams, okay? Now, that's big. That's huge. That's a huge deal for record labels. So they, of course, and I'm not going to accuse record labels of paying for spots, but they do what they got to do to make sure their artists that's dropping new songs get on those playlists because that's the new radio. Now, I remember after I had him on my show, I spoke to him after the show and I say, yo, Carl, man, I say, you know, it's going to get to a day where people are going to get at y'all like they're getting at me at the current time. Now, the current time back then was right after I did an interview with Tekashi 6ix9ine, and a lot of these little journalists for Jezebel and all these other places, they were on a moral high horse to say, Akademiks, why the fuck are you actually giving platforms to people who are accused of pedophilia, people who are accused of beating women, people who are accused of raping women? These guys should be silenced, and also they should not be promoted via your platforms, whether it's news or whether it's posted on Instagram. You need to not cover these guys at all. Now, I took a stance, and it got me slandered and slaughtered on Twitter. I said, despite what these guys are charged of, I'm going to go off the music because I care about the music. I'm not promoting these guys in terms of saying they're good guys. I'm promoting these guys to say I like their songs. Now, a lot of people on Twitter disagreed, but I asked Carl Cherry privately then. I said, why are they coming at me? I'm only one little goddamn little tadpole in the big-ass pond. Why aren't they going to the record labels? Why aren't they going to the streaming services? When are they going to pull up on y'all and say, wait, fuck what Akademiks is posting on Instagram. Why do you have these niggas on your playlist? Why do you? You guys are helping these niggas labels make millions. And also, why aren't y'all outside the labels picketing? They're the ones making millions. Why are you picking on Akademiks? Now, I knew this day would come, and I'm not rejoicing. But I'm glad that at least it seems now fair. Because what has happened now, Spotify has announced that, and obviously it's due to public pressure, they've announced that their playlists, their promoted playlists, that every label will fucking cut their own dicks off and eat it to get their artists on. They've announced that all their official big playlists will no longer feature people who engage in hateful conduct. Okay? Now, this immediately has affected certain artists. Tay K, he has been removed from all Spotify's official promoted playlists. So there's no more Tay K. By the way, you can still listen to Tay K on Spotify. They just won't be promoting him by putting him in a playlist that he'll get millions of streams. You're going to have to search for that motherfucker now. Now they also did it to R. Kelly. Clearly we know what's going on with R. Kelly. They have taken all of his music out of all the R&B playlists. You will now, if you want to hear R. Kelly, you will not go to a Spotify promoted playlist. You got to search it on your own. But it goes even further. They've done it to xxxtentacion. And from what I'm hearing, it might extend to people like Kodak Black, Famous Dex, Rich the Kid, NBA Youngboy, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and these are the big wigs in all this conversation. What about Chris Brown? Is RCA going to allow Chris Brown to get blackballed from all playlists because of some shit he did in 2009? The charges are there, right? And if they're going by, we don't care about charges or not, we are just going by what we know you did, or what we think you did, we're just going to take you off. You got to get Chris Brown too, right? You just got X, you got to get Chris Brown too. And then, if you get Chris Brown, you got to get Dr. Dre. So where do we start? This actually opens up a Pandora's box. Are you going to do it for Michael Jackson as well? Michael Jackson's accused of molesting kids. I know he died and God rest his soul. But are we going to do it for him? There's a lot of people accused of some very heinous things. And that's why I stopped to say I will not be forced by public pressure to say, hey, he's accused of whatever, so I can't like his music or I can't talk about his music anymore. Because a lot of these niggas, and I'm sorry, I am sorry. A lot of the people who make great music, they have their demons and they have these allegations that follow their career. career, whether it is alleged rape, alleged assault, domestic violence, alleged murders. They have a lot of shit under their docket, and if we're only promoting the artists that are clean cut, it's only a matter of time before everybody's shit rises to the surface and you realize your playlist is filled with nothing but people that nobody knows. And when they get exposed, you gotta remove them. It's an ongoing cycle of saying who is the most innocent out of a bunch of seemingly guilty motherfuckers. What are we gonna do? Now, Spotify, clearly, they finally put their foot down, right? They gotta take the rest of these niggas off their list, right? So, who's gonna be on their playlist to come in the future? And also, let's think about what happens in a ripple effect. Apple Music, you guys are sexy. And what I mean by that, you guys try to be attractive. You guys don't want no bad controversy or bad publicity. If Spotify is doing that, you know you're not going to be the rebel. You know you're definitely going to say, oh, us too. I'm looking on y'all playlist right this minute. And you know who you have on your playlist? I could read down some of the names that Spotify has taken off their playlist. Let's go down the list, okay? You have Famous Dex Japan. It's been on that playlist for a while. By the way, that's the reason why Famous Dex song Japan charted so high. Are you going to take that off? You have Rich the Kid. Rich the Kid, allegedly, his wife is accusing him of being her. You going to take off Plug Walk? Are you going to then take off, like motherfucking 6ix9ine Gotti? Are you going to take off xxxtentacion Sad? The day of reckoning for these bigger companies. And that's why I always laugh when niggas act like one person, me. I'm such a big conglomerate, like, oh, Akademiks is ruining this, or Akademiks is pushing the... No. There's multiple people even bigger than me that's just faceless. They get all the money. They actually really make shit happen. And they are the real culprits if you're looking for people to blame before you get to me. So let's see where this stops. Does it stop with Spotify? Does Tidal got to actually start getting in and say, oh shit, we got to do some shit? Tidal? Apple Music? Are y'all going to stop there? Are y'all going to start pulling up on labels next? You're not going to pull up on labels? Or are you going to pull up on the freshman list? The freshman list is going to have a bunch of people. Well, actually, freshman list, they try to clean it up. But who else? Radio stations, they give interviews. We're going to do that? So now we're getting in a very tricky and slippery slope where it's like, how could you be sure that the people that are on your list are clean cut, don't have no dirt, or are we just saying, let's pick the ones with nothing on them now, and if it comes up that they did some shit, we'll remove them? You're going to have a long and hard time trying to create playlists that your listeners actually want to fuck with. All right? But I'm just glad. I'm not glad that these artists are being removed. I'm glad that finally y'all start taking aim at bigger companies, because these companies are worth billions. And Akademiks, maybe I am very influential, but I am not the Spotifys, the Apple Musics. I am not the record labels that sign all these guys and get millions of dollars. I'm a guy who promote and talks about music that I like and an audience that fucks with me like. Okay? This might be the domino effect that changes who ends up being popular, who flops, who doesn't. If you don't know, you get no playlist support, you will flop. I can tell you that today. You want to know how I know? Blue's Clues outsold about half of the songs that was on the Billboard Hot 100. It did not make the Billboard Hot 100. You know why? It did not get added to any big playlist. You know why? I'm not signed to a label. You know why? Because a label has that leverage to get a song on there. I also talked to somebody, say, hey, you want to consider my song for a playlist? They say, well, it's parody. We ain't really going to fuck with it. Fine. No sweat off my back. But I'm telling you guys this for the importance of the playlist. So when y'all hit everybody off the goddamn joint that got some type of charges, let's see the ripple effect and let's see what happens in the future. I'm sorry for these long videos. I know you guys are getting really tired of videos over like 7-8 minutes. You guys like to keep it short, but this was a very important topic for me, and I was somewhere in a meeting and this popped up on my phone and I said, fucking right. I can't wait to get to the studio to record this. And you already know, it's your boy Akademiks. Make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe.